Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Steven, the Laggy Gamer, and today I'm coming at you guys with a new discussion video, and today we're going to finally talk about The Last Story. I completed this game about a week and a half ago, or I don't know if I'm allowed to say completed. Here's the story. Had this game, pretty much I was wrapping it up about a week and a half ago on the weekend, and I got to chapter 41 or 42 in the game. And when it was doing a cutscene and starting the next chapter, I saw where it popped up at the bottom. It said epilogue. So I'm guessing there's some ending chapters, but my Wii croaked right after that. Went to a screen, a white screen that said it couldn't read the disc. I tried cleaning it, and I could not get my Wii to work. So I think there's 2 more chapters I need to complete for the epilogue. But I think I've pretty much got the gist of the story wrapped down. So I figured I'd go ahead and do a discussion on it, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to get my Wii fixed. I ordered the little 3-tip screwdriver you got to get to repair it, but I don't know when it's going to get here. And hopefully I'll be able to fix my Wii after that happens. But from what I played of it, and from I think I pretty much saw the ending, but from what I saw, I think I can go ahead and give you guys a discussion about it, unless you guys know my thoughts on the game. Again, we're going to be talking about The Last Story. Fantastic way to end an adventure on the Wii, but for me, I'm still just getting into the Wii since I just got it this past Christmas. And after playing Xenoblade and getting this other Operation Rainfall game in, I was super excited, super stoked for the game, and I had a blast with the game. Can I put it above Xenoblade? You shouldn't even really compare the two, but I think I'm still going to give Xenoblade as my favorite, but I really enjoyed a lot of aspects of this game. And not to say too much about the story or spoil it for you guys, it's pretty much your simple love story, your basic thing. It's been there, done that. Your main character, Zael, he just falls for this girl, Callista, who winds up being the princess of a kingdom. And at first you don't know, but winds up finding out. And it's just a love story between them. And also you're just trying to save their land, Lazarus Island, from another island that's coming to invade them, Grax, the enemy clan, so to say, if you want to call them enemies. So that's pretty much just the story. Very simple, but they really did a great job delivering the story. Really made you feel for the characters, the main characters, Callista and Zael, and wanting to see them together and watch this relationship just unfold, having its ups and downs, and it's really well supported by the supporting cast. Zael is with a band of mercenaries, and mercenaries are kind of looked down upon in the society by knights who are warriors of the Empire. And a mercenary, you do your odd jobs, go and hunt reptids, do these odds and end quests, but everyone wants to strive to be a knight. And because they're respected and they're known throughout the Empire and through the island. So the goal of this little band of mercenaries is to one day become knights. And when you get to meet all these people, it's full of great characters. You have Zael, you have his buddy Dagran, who they started this clan together. You've heard all about Selene and her craziness, her attitude. There's Yurik the mage. There's just so many people a part of this clan who, when you play the game, I beat it in about 22 hours, 20 hours. They don't really get too much in with the guys. You wish. That's the one little downfall with this game. There's a couple people they do explore really well, like Yurik, Dagran, Selene a little bit, but you never get to really get in depth with a lot of characters. It would have been cool to have some cool backstory stuff with all of them, because you didn't get too much into it. And that'd be great to get to know the characters a whole lot more. But from what you did get to learn of them, they're fantastic characters and they all mesh well. And voice acting for them was perfect. I loved everything about it. And the 2 knights in the game, Therius, and I forget the head knight in the game, but I think Therius is one of my favorite characters just from how he looked. He's the knight who looked down upon these mercenaries at first, and then as all this stuff is unwinding throughout the Empire, he just grows to respect them more and more. And just, Therius is an awesome character in the game. He was probably my favorite character out of all of them. So characters are great. The story was wonderful, simple story, and once in a while that's what you want. After a game like Xenoblade where it's just chock full of stuff, it's nice to have a nice, just simple story to go through, just about love. There's nothing wrong with love, and there's a cool story about it. So, but I guess the greatest thing for me with this game was not only was the story fun, but the gameplay was fun. And that's where a lot of people either get kind of about it, or you really enjoy it. For me, I really enjoyed it. And basically the way the game is set up, it has an auto attack set up for you where you can run up to the enemy and it'll attack for you, or you can set it up to where you're hitting it yourself like a hack and slash game. I prefer the auto attack because I'm used to that after Xenoblade and MMOs that I play, so it's really convenient just to have it attack it for you. But it throws so much other stuff in there, and that's when the RPG elements come for. The game really likes you to use your environment. What I mean by that is you can take cover. You can get behind a wall or beside a wall, wait for an enemy to get close, do a sneak attack slash on them, and those deal heavy amounts of damage. And you can go hide again, and the enemy pretty much loses sight of you, and you can go attack them again. So it's just an action RPG to the fullest. Not quite on par with, say, Dragon Age Origins or anything like that. It's a little bit more complex, I would say, because Dragon Age is simple. You either hit X, B, Y, A, hold a trigger, or hit it again, and that's your move. This one's a little bit more confusing, because either you can go and do your auto attacks, or you can hold down A. Everything's mapped to the A button, which when I get to problems with the game, that's what I'll talk about. You can hold down A with Zale, and he does a move called Gale, which will activate other abilities altogether. It's more of a move that defuses elemental cast. And what I mean by that is all your other characters, they of course have their moves too. Now most of the time they're thinking on their own, they're doing their own thing, they're either casting fire spells, they're healing on their own, or they're attacking on their own, but you do, at some point in the game, you're able to control these characters by giving them commands. Simple input on the D-pad, you hit up, and it pretty much brings a control menu up for each character. They have about 2 moves starting out with, but as you go throughout the game, they'll level up, and it fills out the whole D-pad per character. So each character will have 4 moves that you can decide for them to do. No, nothing real complicated, just a magic spell, a heal spell, and they have like these ultimate skill spells that they'll do later on in the game that you'll unlock that do huge amounts of damage. So just nothing too complicated. It's really simple. You're either going to cast a spell, or you're going to heal somebody, or do a support type of attack. But the way it comes into play, 'cause some bosses, they're immune to fire, so you gotta kind of keep your fire mage from casting fire. If that person dies, you might want to let them die. But each character is given a amount of lives. I guess this is where it took a lot of the challenge away from me, because in the combat, I didn't die until the boss of the game. The game was really easy. I was flying through everything, but I was having fun with the battles. You can go through the game if you want, like people are saying, and just hack and slash away just mindlessly. But if you play the game how they want you to play it, by sneaking up on enemies, hiding behind objects, using the environment to kill enemies, it'll pretty much queue you almost every battle. And that's another little downfall for it being too easy. Every battle you get into, it's always telling you what you need to do and queuing you like, hey, maybe you should shoot this, or maybe you should do that. A lot of times I would go to shoot an environmental piece to do damage to an enemy, and it wouldn't fall. Nothing was happening. I would shoot 50 shots into it with my bow and arrow, because you get a bow and arrow in a game to do some little long range attacks that don't really do much, but the piece of environment would not fall. It would just stay there and not do anything. So I pretty much still go charging headed in battle head on just into anything without using the environment. But I did use the duck and cover sneak attack stuff a lot, because the game was real dumb when I could do a sneak attack and they could all be running at me, and if I hide behind something, they lose me. They just lose sight of me. And the way you can attract enemies in the game is another move that Zale has. It's called Gathering, and that's mapped to the L button on the classic controller. And it's pretty much makes him the tank of everything. All enemies are going to be focusing on him. Once in a while they will lose focus, but you just got to get the aggro back. But that lets your partner is able to cast their abilities, because their abilities are timed. Sometimes it'll take 18 seconds, sometimes it'll take 20 seconds, but throughout the game, that time actually does speed up, and you'll see where it's just going 18 to 0 like that. If you bring up the command icon, it'll actually instantly cast their spells after 3 seconds. So you want to use that command as much as you can and not just go running through the game, because there's going to be times where you might be getting low on health and you need a heal, but if your healer gets hit while trying to cast it, it resets everything. So you got to kind of be on your toes when that happens, but you got plenty of lives to sacrifice even if you do die, because you have 5 lives per teammate before they're officially KO'd from the battle. The only downfall is, to make it more challenging, I would try to go through a battle without losing any lives. Did that happen all the time? No, I would die. Once in a while I'd lose a life, and that's how I would try to get the game harder for myself, because it was pretty easy not to die in the game. And I mean, you gotta set your own goals for yourself in your own bar. If you don't want to use the command menu, that's fine. I had no problems with using it. I know there have been some complaints of inputting a command and then not doing it. I didn't have that problem at all. The only problem I would have is, like I was saying with the A button, everything's mapped to it. So if I wanted to roll out the way, that was my one main gripe. I'd be attacking an enemy, they'd be auto-attacking, and I'm hitting A and over trying to dodge and roll out the way, and it wouldn't roll, it would just keep attacking. And once in a while I'd want to move out the way so I wouldn't get hit, but unfortunately it just wouldn't do it. So little hiccups here and there with the battle, with that happening, but I just had a blast with the combat, issuing commands. The one thing that you can't issue a command until when you unlock it in the game, you'll see these bars underneath your health meter. It's like 4 bars. Using your Gale attack uses one of those bars. To use the commands, you have to wait till the whole bar fills up. That's all 4 of them. And it does take a little bit of time for that bar to fill up for you to issue the commands. It's where more strategy comes into play. You got to be careful on when you issue those commands. Make sure you're doing it at the right time, because if you're going to need a heal and you have to wait for that command bar to fill up, you better be on your toes, because there's no items or healing or anything in the game. Got to make sure you time stuff out right. So again, just no problems with it. It was a little slow filling up, but that's part of all the strategy to me for the game, to keep it kind of hard for you. But all in all, the combat was really easy. It's really simple. And with that Gale attack, like I was talking about, say Yurek cast a fire spell on the ground, I could use Gale, and when you go and hover over it, it lets you know what's going to happen once you do it. It'll either set the enemy on fire, it'll cause them to be slower, or it'll cause them to get poisoned with some of them. So you just gotta, it all depends on what type of spell's on the ground. Also, say if there's a fire spell on the ground, I could run through it and put fire on my weapon. And if an enemy's weak to fire, then it's going to do more damage. So there's all sorts of cool, neat little things in there with the spells and magic and stuff like that to work with. And later on throughout the game, you also unlock a move that's kind of like Gale, but without holding down A, it lets you run up a wall. You'll run up the wall, and you'll see an enemy down there, and this is pretty much the same attack. You pick your spot with A. Once you're up the wall, everything freezes. Well, it doesn't freeze for the enemies, but they won't hit you, and you get to pick where on the ground you want to land and do this like sword attack down, and it breaks the enemy's healing spells. It'll do a defuse on the fire spells and everything too that are on the ground. So that's pretty convenient if you don't want to hold down A. You can just run up a wall, be all fancy like that. But the combat to me was really fun. They're trying to do something different. I like how they did try to do something different. If you want to ruin the game and just go through hacking and slashing away, then that's your opinion. But you can't hate on the people for trying to do something new and different with the combat. I really enjoyed it and had a good time with it. As far as looks of the game, I thought it was a beautiful game for what they tried to pull off. It's very dark, and it's like one of those brown colored palette games. It's not like Xenoblade where there's a lot of colorful areas and stuff like that. Really brown and gray and kind of saddish colors. And I guess that's like a tone of the game. It's like a theme of the game, because it's kind of sad and dreary near the beginning and stuff like that with what's happening. And when you get into the caves of the Grak layer and stuff, it's just all dark and nasty. So not vibrant, not a lot of color, but that could be all the tone setting for the game. and there were still beautiful environments for what they did on the Wii. Like with Xenoblade in this game, can't believe they're Wii games because they look so great. This game does suffer from lots of slowdown though. There are battles where slowdown was insane. I could think of one of the side dungeons, which was the Sea Cavern. I was just having slowdown during that whole dungeon that really made it where I was getting frustrated, didn't want to play it because it was just so irritating having to deal with the slowdown. But if you can push through it, there are some spots that are worse than others. But if you can get through it, it's not throughout the whole game. There's just some areas where it's just where water may be involved or something, where it's a little bit heavier and there's a lot going on. But as far as that, that's the only hiccup I had graphic-wise. There was another time where I ran into a glitch. I was doing a side quest in the town trying to chase down a boy who stole my wallet, and everything disappeared. It was nothing but, none of the buildings or anything were there. It's like I was running on the sky. And it was pretty cool because everything went away except me looking at this boy. And then I could also see all the hidden chests and items throughout the city. It let me know where everything was at. So it was a pretty cool glitch, but yeah, that was the only glitch I kind of ran into. But other than that, color palette, brownish gray, but it still looked beautiful, everything they did. As far as like with the gameplay, I was talking about that side quest just now. Gotta be careful throughout the game because there's no journal in this game. And to keep track of the side quest you did, you could skip over a chapter that it's a side quest chapter, but I mean, I want to do everything in the game. I noticed there's a part I was keeping tab, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and I think I was at chapter 24, and then I saw it skipped up to 25 or 26. So I was like, whoa, what happened? So I went back around, walking throughout the town just to find out which event I had missed, and I did. I was at Sea Cave when I was talking about. That was one of the ones I missed, and I went down there and did that side dungeon too, but I'm not sure which ones were optional or which ones were main, but I think there's a lot of optional ones in here, like 5 or 6 optional dungeon quest areas to go to. So just be careful on your lookout. You got that main hub city you're in, Lazarus Island area. So just keep an eye for side quests, but it gives you no indications, no hints. It's really old school on how it does the side quests for you. So just make sure you're just keeping a lookout and talking to people a lot and figuring out which quest you want to do. The one other thing you could do with the questing is after you've defeated a dungeon, later on you can go back and replay dungeons to get rare items and equipment, better weapons and stuff. The only downfall is when you replay those dungeons you don't get experience, so you're pretty much just going in there to get the weapons and stuff. You're not going to get any XP to level up your characters. There's times where you're only going to be using a set amount of characters for a while, then it's going to switch your party up and give you someone else. And you're going to notice one of your characters is going to be like 10 levels under where your other ones are. It kind of never really hurts the game though, because when you're leveling up or going on through the story, they level up really fast, the characters. Leveling in this game is so easy. I never had a problem with them dying because they were too weak, and their levels caught up quickly. In the game, there's summon circles scattered in certain areas where you can summon up enemies and level up and grind at those areas. And I would always grind at those areas until you'll notice you can do a summon circle, kill some enemies, and you'll level up after the one battle. Do it again and you'll level up again. Then it'll start slowing down, and I would stop if it took any more than 3 battles to level up. That's when I would move on with the story. And just using that technique and that strategy, I was able just to be strong enough for everything. And maybe that's why the game was too easy, but I mean, at each summon circle I might have just spent 5 minutes, if that, leveling up because everything died so quickly. And at the end of the game, I think I was level 68 when I did the final boss. And that's the first time I died, like I said, on the final boss, so he's tough. But yeah, you have your side quests and your optional quests to do. There's some farming mini-game stuff in there you can do that I didn't really look into. But just a lot of options in the game. There's an arena to go into to do arena battles with some arena-type matches against other enemies or boss characters. And then you have the online multiplayer, which is boss members, so... if I could, I wanted to say there's one more thing about the gameplay. Side quests. Bosses, dungeons, no XP. Well, if I think of it, I'll try to mention it. I want to say it was something important that I wanted to say. But, no, but anyways, like I said, graphics were wonderful. Just a little bit brown and gray and everything, but could be tone of the game. Music was fantastic. I only got the premium soundtrack with the box edition here. And, man, the very first track, the main theme, at the 2-minute, 24-second mark, that's the best sound in the game, that little part right there. When you get to 2:24, let it play out. I love it. It's like the battle theme when you're charging in. It's just this awesome music to get you hyped for the battle. It's really rewarding. And the soundtrack was really great. I wish I had the whole soundtrack, but premium soundtrack, it does good for what it does. And the music in the game, it just fits perfect. Wonderful music, really works with the environment and everything. So really wish I could finish the last epilogue chapters, because I'm wondering if I'm missing anything really big. I should probably just go watch it on YouTube, but I really don't want to do that. I want to play it. But from what I played, this was a great way to, I guess, for the Wii to have its last hoorah. I thought it was a great RPG, just my type. It's not 70 hours long. No knock on Xenoblade for being that long for me, but it's sometimes I gotta get out there and just play these games and get going. And I like how it was about only 20 hours just to get this thing beat. And I thought it told everything it needed to, except for building up the side characters and stuff like that. But hey, they could do a first story or something like that. So it'd be pretty cool if they could do some more entries into this game. Maybe see something on the Wii U without the little minor hiccups with the slowdown and everything. So I guess that's about it. I want to try to think really hard, real quick, about that last thing I wanted to mention that is just not coming to my head. I'm going to rewind again. Dungeons, arena. Yep. I can't think of it. I'm pretty sure someone else out there already probably told you guys everything about it anyway. So that's just my thoughts on the game from someone who's not the best RPG player out there. This was a great game for me. Like right now I'm playing through Final Fantasy VI. I'm loving it, but it is old school and having a little trouble sometimes with some areas, just trying to get the story to go through. So I kind of like the newer generation where everything's just a little bit simpler, holding your hand with things. So I like how this is like really streamlined, and I like stuff like that in the game. So if you're a newbie RPGer like me who really enjoys them, but you're not the best at them, this is right up your alley. It's a great game. Xenoblade, couldn't recommend them enough. They're fantastic games. I hope we continue to get more JRPGs over here, because it seems to be like a dying thing, and that's a sad time. So anyways, that is the last story. Make sure you get it up and pick it up before you cannot find it anywhere. Thanks for watching. Laggy Gamer, lagging out.